So, what do? Someone asks it politely, and somehow, a part of you already wants to leave the conversation. Nothing about the question is rude. You know how to answer. That is what makes it strange. You say your job title, smile a little, and add something harmless about being busy lately. The answer comes out clean, almost automatic. On the outside, you look normal. But inside, something in you starts to step back. Not dramatically. Not because you dislike the person. Just because the conversation already feels like a script you have performed too many times. The strange thing is, you are not always quiet. With the right person, you can talk for an hour about something real. A fear you have never said out loud can come up naturally. So can an old memory? Or a question that keeps following you long after everyone else has moved on? But somehow, one harmless question about work, weekend plans, or the weather can make your mind go blank. And then, people misunderstand you. They think you do not know how to talk. But maybe you do. Maybe you just hate the moment when talking stops feeling real, and your voice has to keep pretending it is enough for now. That is why hating small talk can feel so hard to explain. Because most of the time, nothing bad is happening. The person may be kind, the question may be harmless. The room feels friendly, so when your energy drops, you may wonder if something is wrong with you. Why can't I just answer like everyone else? Why does a simple question feel so heavy? But this does not automatically mean you are rude. It does not mean you think you are better than people. It does not mean you hate connection. Some quiet people want connection so much that fake connection feels worse than no connection at all. They are not rejecting the person in front of them. They are reacting to the feeling of standing in a conversation where both people are speaking, but nothing is really being exchanged. That is the part others do not always see. They hear a short answer and call it awkward. They see a quiet face and call it cold. But inside, the quiet person may simply be waiting for the conversation to become honest enough to enter. If this hit a little too close to home, drop "real" in the comments. Not as a complaint, just as a sign that you know what it feels like to want a conversation to mean something. Small talk often feels strange because everyone seems to know the lines before the conversation starts. How are you? Good. Busy lately? Yeah, a little. Any plans this weekend? Not much. Nothing about those answers is false exactly. But they are not fully true either. They are the safe version. The version that keeps the room light. The version that does not ask anyone to slow down, listen harder, or meet you somewhere more real. For quiet people, that can feel tiring in a way that is difficult to name. They are not confused by the question. They know what the social answer is supposed to be. But the honest answer is usually too long for the moment. How are you? Well, tired in a way sleep does not fix. Thinking about something I cannot explain in one sentence. Trying to act normal because this is not the place for the real answer, so they choose the smaller answer. They say, "I'm good." They smile. The conversation moves on, and everyone else seems satisfied. But inside, the quiet person may feel a little further away from themselves. And after a while, even simple conversations start feeling strangely expensive. The problem is not that they do not know the answers. The problem is that the answers do not feel like them. This is why quiet people can look difficult to read. At first, they may seem absent from the conversation. They answer enough to be polite. They smile when the moment asks for it. Their body is there, but something in them stays a few steps behind. Then the air changes. Someone says something less automatic. A small confession slips out. A question lands with more room inside it. For once, the conversation does not sound like everyone is trying to finish a social routine. The quiet person notices before they decide to. Their eyes settle. Their voice comes back with more weight. The answer takes longer, but it comes from somewhere closer to the truth. That is the part people often miss. They were not waiting for the conversation to become dramatic. They were waiting for a reason to bring more of themselves into it. Small talk can keep them near the doorway. They can stand there kindly, saying enough, giving enough, not making the moment difficult. But if nothing ever moves past that doorway, their mind starts to drift. It keeps listening for a sign that something real is allowed here. An honest pause. A question that is not just decoration. A moment when the person across from them stops performing too. When that happens, quiet people do not suddenly become different. They finally have somewhere real to arrive. Small talk is not useless. That is the part worth admitting. A simple question can be a soft way of checking the room before anyone risks being more honest. How are you? How was your weekend? Did you find the place okay? Most people are not asking these things because they want to waste time. They are trying to create a little safety first. A conversation needs somewhere gentle to begin. Quiet people can understand that. They know not every moment has to open with a confession. Closeness cannot always be rushed, but after the first few steps, something in them starts waiting for the conversation to move. Not into something heavy, just into something less automatic. Small talk can feel like a doorway. At first, that doorway is useful. It lets two people check the room before they step further in. But when the whole conversation stays there, smiling and repeating the same easy lines, quiet people start to feel stuck at the entrance. They are not rejecting the beginning. They are waiting for someone to move past it with them. The problem is not the beginning. The problem is being kept there too long. If this put words to something you felt for a long time, give it a like. It helps this kind of quiet psychology reach the people who need it. Small talk can feel tiring because it asks quiet people to stay socially present without becoming too honest. They are there, but only in the safest version. A coworker asks about the weekend, and the real answer would change the mood. So they choose the harmless one. It was fine. Someone asks how work has been, and there is a longer truth behind it. Stress, uncertainty, a tiredness they have not said out loud yet. But the moment is too small to hold all of that. So they trim the answer until it fits. That trimming takes energy, not the kind people notice. A simple reply can carry several quiet decisions. If they sound too serious, the room might turn awkward. If they ask nothing back, they may look uninterested. If they tell the truth too directly, the conversation may slow down in a way no one asked for. After a while, the quiet person may not be exhausted from talking. They may be exhausted from editing. Every sentence has to pass through a filter before it reaches the air. And the strange part is, they can do it well. They can seem polite, calm, even easy to talk to. But inside, their real self may feel like it has been standing outside the conversation, waiting to be allowed back in. This is where small talk can become lonely for a quiet person. At work, someone catches them near the kitchen and asks about the weekend. Any plans? They answer honestly enough. Not really, just resting. A simple reply. Still, the pause after it seems to ask for more. Something funny. A little story. A question returned quickly enough to prove they are not trying to end the moment. Without meaning to, they start managing what their silence might be turning into in the other person's mind. Their face softens. A small laugh appears. Another question gets offered back before the silence can be judged. Nothing about this looks difficult from the outside. It looks like basic friendliness. But inside, it can feel like translating yourself into a version other people can relax around. Say too little, and people assume distance. Say too much, and the room may not know where to put your honesty. Stay quiet, and someone begins writing a story about what your quiet means. That is why these tiny moments can follow them longer than anyone expects. Not because the question hurt, because being misunderstood in such a harmless moment makes them feel strange in their skin. After enough moments like that, small talk stops feeling casual. It becomes a place where quiet people have to prove they are warm, while trying not to become fake. They were not failing at connection. They were only tired of pretending the surface was enough. There is a point where this needs to be said carefully. Not enjoying small talk does not make a person broken. A quiet person can prefer conversations that have somewhere to go. They may feel more alive when a simple question gives both people a reason to pause before answering. That preference is not wrong. It becomes a problem when every ordinary beginning starts to feel like an insult. Someone asks about the weekend, and the quiet person is already gone. A neighbor mentions the weather, and their mind decides this will never become anything real. The opening gets dismissed before it has a chance to become warmer. That is where the difference matters. Depth is not the same as impatience. Wanting something real is healthy when it helps you recognize the conversations that feed you. It becomes lonely when it makes you refuse every small bridge, because it is not already a destination. Small talk can be shallow. It can also be the first knock on a door. You do not have to love it. You do not have to fake excitement over every easy question. But sometimes, the conversation that later feels honest begins with someone saying something ordinary, and staying long enough to mean it. Maybe quiet people do not hate small talk as much as they hate losing themselves inside it. It starts harmlessly. Someone asks a question, and they answer in the voice they use to be easy to talk to. Lighter than they feel. Safer than the truth. Nothing looks wrong outside, but inside, they have already stepped away from the moment. That is the part people miss. They are not waiting for every conversation to turn serious. A simple beginning is completely fine. They just hope it does not become the whole conversation, because underneath the polite answer, there is usually more. A thought they would share if the room felt open. a warmer version of them waiting for the conversation to make space. So if someone hates small talk, do not rush to call them cold, awkward, or hard to approach. Their quiet may not mean they dislike conversation. It may mean they are waiting for one where they can finally feel like themselves while speaking. Send this to someone who gets called cold or awkward when they're really just tired of fake conversation. Thank you for watching until this moment. I'm Can. Subscribe if you want more videos about introverts, quiet people, and the psychology behind the things most people misunderstand. Goodbye, and see you next time.